Welcome to the sales training for Managed 24/7 Security Operations Center. This is provided by Business Cybersecurity Solutions. All right, now what is a Managed Security Operations Center? This is for the clients who need full eyes on glass 24/7 management on anything related to the security of their network and their users. So there's quite a few different elements to a managed SOC. It's a fairly involved setup and integration within their systems. However, once that's in place, it is really fairly hands off for the end users or the customer unless there's an issue. So a good managed security operations systems includes a solid topology, meaning they have all the redundancies in place that they need to have so that their services are never interrupted. Okay, multiple sites, redundant power, redundant internet, redundant everything, physical controls. Nobody's getting into their SOC, and they call Security Operations Center a SOC. Now, the people, the process, and the technology are just as important because the entire process of a SOC is to feed just monstrous amounts of data into their technology. So they're going to take all the logs from the email, the firewalls, the switches, the endpoint monitoring, everything is going to get fed into their systems. And it's very important that that technology can handle the load and that it can process it using artificial intelligence and machine learning to sift out most of the noise. Then you get to the people and the processes. Now you've got human beings that are getting these alerts as to certain behavior that might be fishy. It's not all, certainly not benign. It's certainly not bad. So you need a human who follows a process to go through and identify whether or not that issue should be escalated. And there's dashboards within the system. The customer can see all of these dashboards. It's fully transparent. However, they don't have to. They can rely on the team within the SOC to be looking at this, escalating from the initial reports, escalating it up the chain, all the way until there's the identification that they need to do an alert. Now, once there is an alert, a chain of events occurs, and these are all defined ahead of time. This is called an incident response workflow. So basically, when something fishy happens, it goes up to a more senior person. The more senior person verifies, yes, this is indeed a bad thing, or no, this is not a problem, works it all the way up. And then they start the notification and remediation phase. It's all based on what that workflow is. The workflow might say, fix it, in which case they fix it. The workflow might say, call these people and alert them, get them out of bed at 3 a.m. and let them know that this is happening and what they need to do to fix it. And they'll be with them the entire way in fixing it. Now, with the remediation, there are certain things that they can fix and certain things they can't fix. If a machine gets completely ransomware, they do not have the capability to wipe that machine and start all over again, nor would you want them to. This is where the internal team needs to be involved as well. And they have obviously, the workflow is what dictates how that flows. Now, there's a whole process. We're not going to go through this, but there's a lot of elements to a SOC that are not part of the initial sales process. That would be during the demo phase where we go through everything. So what do you need to know? Quite frankly, the most important is, do you have a regulatory requirement for enhanced security? In many cases, and in more and more cases nowadays, that is starting to be a very real thing. There are certain industries, Department of Defense contractors have CMMC. Virginia just passed 334. And there's more and more of this stuff happening. There's plenty of industries, financial services, banking, in some cases, healthcare providers, credit card processors. There's many industries that do have a regulatory requirement, in which case, ask, what is it? What's that requirement? That will help us come prepared to the following meetings with more detailed information that is very specific to what their regulatory requirement is. Having a regulatory requirement to do this is outstanding because that's a viable customer. Now all we have to do is show them our products better than what they have. And that is the second question, is do you have something? They might not. Such as Virginia, it's a brand new legislation. And so there's a lot of companies now that are scrambling to figure out, okay, does this apply to me? And if it does apply to me, what do I need to put in place? They never had anything like this before. But if they are very security conscious, the larger customers, the regulated customers, these guys are great ones to talk to about a managed SOC because they rarely have the staff that have ever been trained to do anything like this. And so it's a great opportunity to outsource.